My name's Kathy, and this is Be Strong Families webinar series, staying strong and positive for ourselves and our children. And if you would open up the chat and click the second option on the drop-down menu, like I'm just doing right now, and say who you are and where you're joining from. I'm Kathy from Wadsworth, Illinois.
And I'm Andrew from Minnesota.
Who else is here with us today? I can actually, somebody raised their hand, didn't they? I see Jennifer. I see Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Maxine. Denise. Am I missing anyone? Hi, Denise. Hi, Annika from New Mexico, and Sharon from Lusby, Maryland. It's great to see you all today. Tandra from Los Angeles. And we're going to get started because we only have a half an hour. Jennifer from California, soon to be DeKalb, I heard. We're welcoming you to Illinois. I wish you were moving to Wadsworth because Wadsworth is awesome, but anyway. Welcome everyone. This is our beginning for Environmental Vitality Week. And I'm very, very excited about this week. I love environmental vitality. I think that it's an under-recognized domain of vitality. I think often when people talk about vitality or they talk about well-being, they think about your body, they think about your mind, they think about your spirit, but they don't necessarily understand that everything is connected and that we are actually intimately and integrally connected with our environment. We share cells with our environment. So that whole thing of the boundaries between people and their environments is a huge interest to me. And the other thing that I am always motivated by is how symbolic all of our choices are, and how the things and not just the people, but the things that we choose to have around us impact how we feel and also contribute to who we are. So that's my little introduction to environmental vitality, and I'm delighted that we're going to be discussing aspects of it all week. Ooh, Terry Gibbs from the land of the Ojibwa and George Floyd. I'm feeling quite environmentally vital today. We agree with all of you and hearing my thoughts. Yay, Terry. And Terry has been a webinar presenter here, runs the Alliance for Sustainability, and it's a huge piece of, we're delighted and honored that you're here, Terry. Hi, Lawan, nice to see you too. So if you aren't talking, put your phone on mute. If you want to talk and actually be heard, raise your hand. And the primary way that people interact is through the chat. So you're already doing that. These are the agreements. This is in recognition that we co-create this safe space together. So if you agree to abide by these agreements, please type I agree in the chat, and that'll be practice. That'll be your warm-up. Awesome. Some of you should have gotten, also just before we get started, people gotten their emails at the beginning of our incentives for the Journey to Vitality? Because we promised at the beginning that if you hung with us, we would be sending you I love you and thank you gifts. So if you've been to at least 5 webinars, you should have gotten an email last week. And if you didn't, you should check your spam. Nice. I'm so glad some of you have. Awesome. Let's get started because we only have a half an hour. So when we define, in our Journey to Vitality, when we define environmental vitality for the purpose of cafes, we talk about how your surroundings influence your well-being. And questions in this domain when we're doing cafes focus on how your home and neighborhood mirror your vitality and values. And then building environmental vitality can also include efforts to help the planet through recycling, environmental advocacy, rehabbing, decluttering the places where you spend a lot of your time. So that's a general idea of what we're talking about when we talk about environmental vitality as a domain or as an aspect of holistic well-being. So we have questions. And our first question is our basic foundational question, because you know, Anna Rodriguez hasn't received anything. Andrew, you have to check on these.
Okay.
Check on all the people that say no, that we know have been here. So the first question is, what does environmental vitality mean to you? When you think of environmental vitality as an aspect of your well-being, what does it mean to you? And again, on Mondays, we ground ourselves for the theme of the week. So this is to get you started thinking and just kick off the conversation. Denise says, taking care of the earth and the earth taking care of me. Nice. Terry says, healthy surroundings that make you feel good. Yep, and Tandra says, feeling safe in the spaces I inhabit. Feeling at peace, Tammy says, in my environment. Landscaping, Anna says. And I agree with all of you. And I think, to me, my environmental vitality, again, is the recognition that I'm connected to the places that I am, and that they mirror back to me the energy that I want to have in my life. Feeling safe and that you're not harming other beings, your surroundings, recognizing how you're connected to the earth and the outside world. Dana says, all the spaces around me. Yes, all the spaces around you, including your car, you know, including your car or your bicycle, including, you know, your neighborhood or your front yard, your backyard, your porch, your house, your room, your office. All of those are your environments, and having them be healthy environments, having them be alive, having them make you feel alive and energized is what this is all about. What's the next question?
Let's see.
How do your surroundings affect the way you feel and your productivity? And I just want you to reflect. We forgot, Siobhan says, connecting with nature and my surroundings. And Sharon says, giving off a positive vibes to others and the environment. And then Sylvia says, taking care of everything that is good for our earth, like keeping it clean, recycling, and walking more instead of driving your car to close places from home. Nice. So we ask, how do your surroundings affect the way you feel, and maybe and also the way you do, how you feel, and how you do. So just recognizing, when do they and how do your surroundings affect you? So people say a lot. Terry says a lot. And Dana says, cluttered house is cluttered mind. And James says, if it's cluttered, I cannot relax. And Tandra says, I can't do clutter. It messes me up, which is hard when you share spaces with other people. And Denise says, a cluttered environment leads to cluttered mind and inability to focus. Oh, so we're talking a lot about clutter and things being. So what's the symbolism of clutter? You know, like when you can't move, when you don't have enough space to spread out. And Sharon says, I need a neat and organized surrounding to help with productivity. And that's Sarita's doing a webinar later this week about order. Her channeling her Marie Kondo, her inner Marie Kondo. Bridget says, my surroundings affect my mental health. If my surroundings are not positive, it affects my productivity. And Dana says, I also need sunshine. Awesome. So we are all kind of recognizing that our surroundings do affect the way we feel, that they do. And I'm just going to tell you, I've noticed that as I moved, I think most of you know that I moved from Evanston to Wadsworth, which is basically moving from a more urban place to a less urban place. And I'm saying that I noticed being surrounded by trees and just having green, and I think it's all the fractals, you know, it just, to me, it's just there's peace everywhere. So if there's not peace in me, I look out the window and there's peace, and it really does help. Denise says, looking at the beauty of the outdoors brings peace and creativity. And Anna says, when COVID hit, I became more aware of this. I've done a lot of updating since this. Terry says, a challenge for me that as an environmentalist, I'm very particular about what happens to things I want to get rid of, either give away or sell for reuse or recycle and compost, but not the trash. And Delphine says that open space makes you feel comfort, environment, relax, embody fresh air, beautiful, natural. You know, Terry, I don't know if this is good or bad. Somebody told me it was not environmentally sustainable, but they've been doing a lot of work in my house. And instead of taking things to a landfill or a dump or whatever, or throwing them out in the trash, we've been burning things in the backyard. I don't know. Somebody told me that that was not good because I was adding to air pollution, but it feels to me intuitively like getting rid of wood and burnable things that way is better than throwing them out. Yes, but I have a pond in my backyard, Terry. So Dana says, for Mother's Day, we reworked the back patio. I added lots of light, shadows, flowers, and wind chimes. It's so peaceful now. Terry says, burning is bad. Okay. Andrew says, my surroundings can take me back to past memories. Anytime I'm around a large body of water, I'm reminded of growing up near Lake Superior. It's a great source of comfort for me. Well, were you going to have a bonfire anyway? Burning untreated wood is okay, but better is reuse. Yes, I know, but when you're demoing like large portions of your home, it's difficult to figure out how to reuse all that stuff. Next one, next slide. Let's go to the next question. So this is related, and we're just asking you some personal questions now. So how does your personal space mirror and support your holistic vitality? Let's start with emotional vitality. And you already, I think we already kind of answered this question in terms of clutter and cluttered mind, making you emotionally not in comfort. Awesome. Okay. So Yamuna says, I literally like when my house echoes a bit. I can actually hear myself think. Overstimulation is real and disorder is madness. Okay. So let's talk about the other domains of vitality, Andrew. How does your personal space mirror your spiritual vitality? We're going to go one by one.
Ooh.
And I'll just say, like in my home, I have a room. I've always had a room that's dedicated to spiritual practice or to, I mean, it looks like probably a yoga. Now it's a little bit, it's a big room. I once had a 1-bedroom apartment where I had the whole living room empty with some yoga cushions and some or yoga mats and meditation cushions. And to me, like having that empty space in the middle and having it be devoted to spiritual practice. I've also had places where I've had small meditation rooms. And what I try to do is also bring my art into all rooms of my house so that, because creativity to me is spiritual vitality. So that's what I do with the spiritual vitality. And Terry says, very into Zen with wood floors, natural wood, and open space. Denise says, I allow one room in the house for clutter. I know some members of my family feel safe having a lot of things. But let's talk about your spiritual vitality and how your home or your personal space contributes to your spiritual vitality. Dana says, I need my spiritual life reflected in my living spaces, incense and sage, angels and crosses, the 5 elements. Yes, Dana, I have an altar space also, like where ancestors and the elements. And when your home is at peace, you're at peace. That's what Dana says. What are people doing in terms of reflecting your spiritual life in your home or in your personal space? James says, I have paintings that reflect things I like, lots of pics of family, ancestral things that connect me to my direct ancestors, and African masks around the house representing that Pan-African lineage. Plants in all open shades, Anna says. A junk drawer, control when you open it. And that adds to your spiritual vitality. I like that. Yamuna says, to me, spiritual cannot be seen. Right. I mean, I think that that's energetic, but what contributes to spiritual vitality? So it doesn't have to be, I know some of us probably believe strongly in like no graven images or that kind of thing. So I'm not talking necessarily about, having spiritual things, but I think like what Terry was saying, like what makes your spirit feel expansive when you have it in your home? How do you create your home space so that your spirit feels expansive and so that you feel connected to something larger than yourself? That's just a question. And if you're not doing it now, it might be something that you want to think about doing. Touch points to recall and ponder spiritual thoughts. Openness. Yes, openness of a home. I think I have these soaring beams. Like you notice when you go into a place of worship, most places of worship, like a church or a synagogue or a mosque, they have very high ceilings, and that's intentional. It's like to be able to create space, right? And there's also stuff in the Bible about how the center of the Holy of Holies was empty. The place for God to dwell. And so creating a place for God to dwell in your home. Knowing that God is everywhere, and I'm just using, like when I'm using this God language, I'm using, I'm not trying to anchor us to a specific tradition or trying to, tie it down, or there's no should involved, but just trying to get us into the ballpark of what it feels like to have your home nurture your spiritual vitality. And Annika says, having plants, candles, open windows, lots of light, journaling supplies handy. Yes to journaling. Less clutter, more space, physical and mental, for spiritual work. Having a dedicated space for spiritual practice. All that reminds us to our connection to something bigger. You have a wooden tree of life on the wall. Nice. So let's talk about the next domain of vitality, was how does your personal space mirror and support your physical vitality? Sharon's saying, my spiritual vitality starts from the inside out, and the clutter and disorganization has to come from within. Interesting. So physical vitality, I'm going to tell you something very concrete, which is when I moved to this place, I had this idea and I did it. I mean, I actually did it, that the master bedroom should be a gym. There was a huge bathroom attached to it. So I thought, this is going to be my spa bathroom. And then what they have is the master bedroom. I'm going to put an elliptical machine and a bike and like an open floor. And I'm going to do my yoga and my stretching and my elliptical. Like I have to walk by the elliptical machine in order to go to the bathroom. And then I opened a wall so that my bed actually opens on my bedroom opens onto this gym. And that's because I wanted to be like really sure that I got myself moving, and it works. I mean, it really works for me, my space being organized so that I can see the exercise equipment when I wake up makes it so that I actually do get on it more than if I didn't. But that's just one example. Okay. Denise says, my fitness watch is always on. I only take it off to charge. Me too. And when it's clean, fresh, and organized, I feel better. I feel lighter and less weighed down. I'd say that's emotional and spiritual. And more clutter and dust is more allergies. So that's also keeping your home dust and allergen free contributes to your physical vitality. Spiritual space on Sunday morning, quiet time, listen to Joe Ostern and TDJ at night. Physical vitality starts with what you put inside your body. Eating healthy and moving every day is a start to physical fitness. So that's another way that personal space can support physical vitality if you look at what you have in your kitchen and what foods you have in your kitchen, because it starts with, where's your water coming from? How are you actually nourishing your body? And how is your personal space, your kitchen, nourishing your physical vitality? And Denise says she can relate to the allergies. Annika says going outside, working in the garden, going for walks. And Yamuna says outdoors is my playground. I love to get out of the house and also return to home. Switching up my environment is important to me. And Dana, I love bringing the outdoors in, open windows and doors, and bringing in blooms from the yard to connect to it. Really good. And Andrew says, I read that running outside versus indoors does a lot for how my physical vitality benefits from my environment. I love finding running trails where I'm running down winding roads. It makes me feel like I'm on a physical journey. Yes. Feel the earth under your feet. Yes. I have that too, like in terms of outside and walking outside. And I'm just saying, I was thinking specifically about your personal space in your home and how you use your personal space in your home to nourish your physical vitality. Let's go to the next question. Social vitality. This is about how do you receive guests? If part of your vitality is social, how do you create space in your home to nourish your social vitality? And then the last one is financial vitality. So how does your home nurture your financial vitality? Yes, COVID, Yamuna, I get it. I've started entertaining again, like small groups and mostly with vaccinated people. But to think about like how you separate your personal space from social space, so that and the point here is just that your environmental vitality, your environment can really impact all the other dimensions of your vitality, and including some people, like one way that a home could nurture financial vitality is when people do Airbnb. I mean, that's, or figuring out, like around me, if you have chickens and you have eggs and you have a farm stand, that's your personal environment nourishing your financial vitality. When my environment is at peace, I spend less money because I'm more satisfied. Nice, Dana. And Sharon, I don't have guests at my house. I rather either meet family or friends outside. Okay. Financial vitality. I open the blinds and really do not use much energy. Yeah, there you go. Is that how are we making efficient homes so that we, so that we're energy efficient in our homes, and that's helping to spend less money. Energy efficiency is a huge piece of sustainability as well. So great. What's next, Andrew? Less retail therapy needed. So this is just when you get started. I recently purchased an Echo Dot. Alexa has really helped with my space and social vitality. That's interesting, Tracy. I wonder how that happened. I'm interested in that. If you want to raise your hand and speak about that, I don't really understand it. But Rebecca says, if I'm organized, I don't purchase items I already have, but I can't find. Yep, even in your refrigerator, right? Like if you know what's in your refrigerator, you're not purchasing doubles or triples of things. And Tandra says, organized space means I spend less because I ask, do I really need this? So this is a question, and you might want to mull it over until tomorrow or someday later this week. What do you need to do in order to improve your surroundings so they support you in an optimal way? Going out, grilling outside to eat healthy instead of going out to eat. What do you need to do? What's like one thing that you could do to improve your environment so that it will contribute to any aspect of the vitality that we just talked about? So if you're picking mental or emotional vitality, or if you're picking social vitality or financial vitality, what is one thing that you can do to improve your environment so that it supports your vitality? Clearing the clutter. Yep, it sounds like a lot of you are clutter clearers. Put up this basket of clean clothes that's piling up. Nice. Sandra says, reflecting to make sure. Jennifer says, move. Yeah, well, that's happening, right? It helps with trying to entertain and made more space in my living room area that didn't feel closed in. And the speakers and big entertainment center was less furniture in my area. So that's exactly clearing the clutter. I see. So then that's really cool. Like, so how the social vitality, by clearing out space, you create more room for people to be able to gather, right? Dana says, add more colors, light, and peaceful noise indoors and out. And Yamuna says, clean out my junk drawer. And Denise says, I work in many areas and I've tried ignoring the clutter in different environments. I realize that doesn't work. So each morning I spend 10 to 15 minutes cleaning the day's work area. Sharon said, I'd like to plant more flowers in the home and outside the home for more beautiful scenery. And I'll tell you what I did. I just planted that. I like plants that work for me. So I planted vegetables. I planted kale and I'm planting, and I have to wait for the tomatoes and lettuce, but I planted cauliflower and kale. And then I planted a whole lot of herbs like rosemary and thyme and basil and right outside my door. So, and I'm going to be putting lettuce and tomatoes in later. So walking in the morning instead of the evening, or just walk both morning and night. And Yamuna says, thanks, Denise, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to implement that. Reflecting to make sure that I'm in alignment physically, emotionally, spiritually, Tandra says. And how much do I pay my plants? Right, I don't pay my plants. How could I pay? I water them every day. So I guess, I don't know.
One thing that I'm going to try and do, and this is something new that I've realized since moving to a house over an apartment, is that it takes a lot more to clean a house than an apartment space. So instead of like just putting it off all for one day, I'm going to try like after work to clean one room. So like clean the bathroom on Monday, or, clean the kitchen on Tuesday, that kind of thing.
Nice. Dana says, appreciate the weather that's occurring for what it is. We had a full moon festival, walking in the warm summer rain, catching the first snowfall on my tongue. This is true. Okay, what's next? So here's the last set of questions for you. What are you doing to contribute to nurturing Mother Earth and our natural resources? And what's one small step you could take to make your household more environmentally sustainable? Dana says, I'm planting for butterflies and bees. James says, recycling. Terry Gibbs asks, I love your holistic way of thinking about environmental mortality. Where or how did the concept come from? I don't know. I think when we were creating the domains of vitality, and it was like organic because we created, the journey to vitality, we met mental, physical, spiritual, and then we thought, like, what are we missing? And the social piece and the financial piece, and then environmental, like what's around us. And it's, as I said at the beginning of this, Terry, it's also like that recognizing that we aren't separate from our environment, that we are contiguous with our environment. And so there's a way in which, I don't know if people know this, but you have more bacteria cells in your body than you do have human cells. And so you're really like, we, at our cellular level, we are really connected to our surroundings. And it's not just a metaphor, and it's not just a, kind of a touchy-feely great idea. It's that we are our environment. And so what seems to be outside of us but surrounding us does affect how we are. So we got a bunch of things, people doing things, picking up trash others leave behind, leaving areas better than how I found it, not to take more than I need. We don't use paper towels. I need to work on composting. I like to plant flowers to help the pollinator as the butterflies and the bees. We need the bees, we do. And Annika says, be more intentional when I purchase household items. Denise says, I regularly take walks to pick up trash. I plan to expand my walk area to clean up more. I don't use plastic water bottles anymore. I use glass bottles. That's great. Heather, I had my water tested because I'm actually out here. I'm on septic and well. And so I have my water tested, and my water is actually like really good. And so I can drink tap water again, like when I was a kid. Like I don't need Brita. I don't need, and it was really interesting because they were telling me like about bottled water that what they do when they create bottled water is they reduce the amount of dissolved solids, but dissolved solids, which I think in Illinois, potable water is 500 dissolved solids. But it depends what the dissolved solids are, because those could be minerals, right? So mine is at like 300. If you do bottled, it's like 10 to 15. But the thing is that if you do bottled, this is a lot of information about water. If you do bottled water, then the acid content goes up of your water. So my water is actually more alkaline. If I wanted to get a filter to make it more like bottled water, like through reverse osmosis, then it would actually be more acidic and less alkaline. So anyway, like not using plastic, I've been trying to do for a really long time, but the fact that I can just drink water from a tap really makes me happy. Let's see, what do we got? Getting rid of cleaning toxins, getting rid of stuff, planting in the garden, tulips, sunshine. Avoid using next day shipping when I have to order online so others can ship together, less trips for the delivery company. Well water, best kind. Sylvia, donations, recycling paper, recycling plastic, and I never throw out trash on the street. Love to keep my town clean for me and everyone else. Got it. Well, we're at 12:30. What's the next? Oh, Terry, we just launched an e-newsletter for the Alliance for Sustainability. Welcome you with a free membership, www.afors.org. Please, everyone, copy that and go on there. New video GoFundMe for She Kindness campaign, sustainability, health, equity, and kindness to address personal and organizational transformation and support public policy. GoFundMe. So copy all those things. Alliance for Sustainability is an awesome organization, and everything they do is worth supporting. So water is not good for drinking. That's terrible. I hate that. Okay, so what do we have coming this week? These are our half hour, just reminding you that you're on this journey. Tomorrow, we're going to dive deep into what does your home say about you and what do you want it to say? And then Cerrito's holding space on Wednesday for finding joy and order. All you clutter people will love to be part of that one, I'm sure. And then Jennifer, who is here today, also is going to be talking about plant-based and zero waste options for a more sustainable you. So, and then we have the Environmental Vitality Cafe on Friday. So join us again. Stay on your journey to vitality. Tell us shoot Andrew an email if you have been coming to these webinars and you didn't get an I love you gift, I see you gift. Shoot Andrew an email, let him know, because it's our intention to keep you jazzed about your journey to vitality. So see you next